Okay, today was day 9 of my study, and I'll continue with my story. So, after I quit that job, I was obviously in a very dark place. I did nothing for a good amount of time. Uh, in my mind, I was originally going to do nothing for 6 months, but that was actually right at the start of the COVID outbreak. And so um, everything was locked down at the time, which was perfect for me because I wanted to do nothing but shut inside and basically do nothing except drink and play video games and let my brain rot. Um, I originally told myself that I'm going to allow myself to do nothing for 6 months, and that 6 months quickly became a year, exacerbated by the COVID lockdowns. And then somehow 1 year became five. And so here I am now, 5 years unemployed in any sort of serious position. Serious, I'll use with quotes. I had other things to keep me occupied during that time, but nothing that I consider worthy of listing on any sort of serious resume. So, for example, I attempted to be a day trader. I had saved up a tremendous amount of money, as you could imagine. There's a job where your housing is paid for, you don't have a car, you don't have a cell phone bill, you don't have anywhere to even spend your money, you're living on a ship. And so I had a tremendous amount of savings from that job. And I thought, hey, let me try to be a day trader. I'm pretty smart. And the fact that I'm here looking for a job shows you how smart I turned out to be as a day trader. Not very successful. I even worked as a promoter for a nightclub, out of all things. Sounds very strange, but that's where I was in my life. I was drinking a lot, and I thought, well, if I'm already here and I know the people, they gave me a job anyways. That wasn't something I didn't do for very long. I worked as a tutor as well. So, you know, there are cram schools in Shanghai which cater towards gifted students who want to go to college in America. And so they're studying for the SATs and AP exams. And so somehow I got a job in Shanghai at one of these schools, and I was preparing kids to take the SATs and AP Physics and AP Calculus. And I did that for a while, which was actually a relatively good job. But the problem was their market was weak, and ultimately they couldn't provide me with enough hours for me to justify staying in that job. I did some other things. At one point, I thought that I should try to become a data engineer, which sounded like an amazing job, and I started studying for some certification exams in that job until I talked to some hiring managers in data engineering who very bluntly told me that, hey, you got to understand this is not any sort of entry level job. No one's really looking to hire anyone like you just because you have a certification. And so I wasted a few months on that before I was kind of given a reality shock to stop. And so here I am now with Project Sudo Reboot 365. I have to start from the ground zero. For someone who has such a large red flag on their resume as me, I think starting over from ground zero is good for me, both personally and professionally. So this is my attempt to do that. Today I just did one day's work of rapid span entry protocol, and I thought, you know what, I'm about 1/3 of the way through the course, and instead of moving on to the next new topic, I think this is a good place for me to stop and just review for a few days. And the way that I decide to do that is that there's an exciting AI tool called Notebook LM from Google. And I'll go into more detail about how I'm doing that. But basically, I can put thousands and thousands of questions from all different sources into this AI tool, and it'll create for me a more organized summary of all those practice exams. And so I'll show you how I'm doing that tomorrow. But yeah. As for my story and where I am career-wise, again, I am totally open to any questions. I understand the weakness in my resume, and I hope that I am addressing that weakness appropriately.